Okay, let me check and see something. Okay, y'all. Happy Saturday, Facebook world. We had a couple changes this morning. Let me see. I am using StreamYard, y'all. We used to use StreamYard back when we were doing Becoming Her, when we first started doing it. And I really liked it. So I wanted to try to shift back onto it because it lets me go live on StreamYard, and then it takes me live in multiple different places. So that's what I'm trying to figure out today. So bear with me. And we were supposed to have a guest today, Rashida. We're going to have to postpone that one for a couple of weeks. I don't want to tell her personal business, but she wasn't feeling well today. So we are going to reschedule her. So you guys got me today. I'm going to try not to talk too long, maybe 45 minutes or so. But what I want to talk about, the E in elevating your income. The E in elevating your income. As you guys all know, I've been talking about or created the wealth formula, her wealth method. And within her wealth method, we have a framework. I am her, or I am her is the business recruiting side of it, but her wealth method is helping you elevate your income. Let me take that back. We're talking about elevating your income today. The H is healing your finances. That's the first thing you have to do. Heal your finances, your relationship with your finances, and things like that. And I do have a book I'm going to be speaking out of a little bit today too. And like I told y'all before, this book is, you can always tell when a book is very used. It looks like this. It's been through the ringer, bags, flights, vacations, everything with me. It's a book that I really read to help me with my mindset around money, because in order to heal your finances, you need to heal your mindset around money. And then it's the E, elevating your income. And so that's what we're going to touch on today. And then the R is retiring with dignity. My framework was designed for healthcare professionals, but as I got further and deeper into the framework and what I was building, I said, this isn't only for healthcare professionals. Anybody can use this, but because it's her, I do cater to women and healthcare professionals. So don't feel like if you see something I'm talking about and it resonates with you, or you feel like I can help you, don't shy down and feel like you can't talk to me, because I can. I just had to really, when I was creating the framework and the program, I wanted it to be something that I was passionate about and something that I can really go out and research and bring real value and things that can really make a difference. So don't feel like because I say it's for women or I say it's for healthcare professionals that you cannot reach out to me, because you absolutely can. I can help in so many different areas and fields, to where if I posted all those different things, you guys will be like, what is she talking about? So it is very tapered down and niche down to healthcare professionals and women. So, but at the end of the day, if you need life insurance, if you need an LLC, if you need business funding, I can help you with all those things. But you have to go to my separate business pages just to get that information. So today we're going to be talking about elevating your income and the E and your the E inside of that. And so let me see. Go here. I took some notes so I can try to stay on task with you guys. Okay, so the E is elevating your income, but it's bigger than simply making more money. Everybody knows how to go make money, right? The thing is, what do we do with the money once we make it? It's about creating income that gives you more options. It's about positioning part of that income somewhere where it can actually grow for you, and then building something that doesn't depend entirely on how many hours that your body can actually do the work. Okay. So when you think about elevating your income, think about the money that you already have. How can you make more money? And I always say, make sure that money stays in maternity ward. It should always be pregnant, or it should always be for reproducing. So making sure that your money has a way to continue to grow without you personally have to go in to a job and physically work. And for my healthcare professionals, healthcare is changing and nurses are paying attention. They really are. And some of them are leaving the bedside completely, and some of them are, they're working still, but they're starting businesses on the side of that because they realize that they have something huge. They have something within their skill set where they can go build something that they can completely own, and they don't have to 100% depend on somebody else to feed them. Y'all make that make sense? The more that we allow somebody to be able to feed us, the less control that we actually have. And with the economy today, the way that these businesses are shutting down, it's kind of scary to have to depend on them, because a lot of them is giving you like a 30-day notice. What happens if you get a 30-day notice, but you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you're going to lose, you can't sustain to be without your full income for the next 2 or 3 months. You guys, we got to really start thinking about it. So what I do want to show you, talk about today is the E in the income. And then I'm going to be reading a little bit from this book. And y'all, I'm not a good reader in front of an audience or on a screen, so bear with me. But I feel like it was some information I did want to share with y'all. So I'm going to be talking about, in this one, it says, working. Let me start off where it's at. There is 10 in this book that I'm reading. There's 10 money commandments, and the money commandments, they help you deal with money and your relationship around money. And first, I want to give you guys some affirmations that you can say every day around money. And one that I usually use is, I am open to receive. The soil of my mind is rich and ready to receive rich thoughts, seeds, rich through seeds. Sorry. And then the more I receive, the more I can give. And when you receive, a lot of people say, money is the root to all evil. It is not the root to all evil. It just depends on what your mindset is around money. If you are a naturally evil person, when you receive more money, you're probably going to be more evil. If you are a person that give, the more that you have, the more willing you are to give as well. So the other one is, the more that I receive, the more that I can give. For I know that every good seed planted in me will reap 100-fold in my life. So just be willing to give just as much as you want to receive. But there is like so many different money tips out here that we cannot really even say I didn't know anymore. I didn't know is not even an excuse no more, because the speed of the internet, you got all these different AI apps and chats and all those things that can help you. Then I'm like on social media for my business purposes, but I'm also running across all these people that's willing to share information. So we cannot no longer use I didn't know where to find the information no more, because it's just right here. If you want it, it's right here. You got to be willing to want the information. But there are so many different tips, tricks, tactics, techniques, and all of that. But it don't really matter if you don't work with your identity and identify your relationship with money and work on the mindset around money. Because if you feel like you don't deserve it, then it is not going to flow to you. So you got to start working on your money. If you are always saying, oh, I'm broke, you got a job, you got bills, you got all the things that you need to survive. And after you pay all your bills, you're always saying, well, I'm broke. Get rid of that word, you guys. Broke. You don't want to tell people you're broke. You may not have extra finances after you take care of all the things that you need to take care of and pay your bills and things like that, but you're not broke. Okay. Are saying, oh, I'm not worthy of money, or money don't grow on trees, or money is for rich people. Those things, you guys got to get rid of your mindset around how you feel with money and really go back to the roots. And that's where your healing, your finances come from. Go back to the roots of wherever your beliefs around money came from. Because a lot of times we feel a certain way, or we feel we're not deserving. And so our brains will block us from receiving different blessings, or will block us from wanting certain things, because we don't feel like we are able to receive those things, or we shouldn't want those things. It's okay to want to have. We are designed to have a life of abundance. But somewhere along the line, we were told that that's not true, or we shouldn't want more, and we shouldn't be greedy. That's not being greedy, because I already know the more money that I have, the more I am going to go out and help, the more that I can go out and help people that need it, the more I can go out and I can help my community. So you really have to go back and realize, what is it that made you think about the way you feel and think around money? So many times we say, oh, I'm okay. I'm okay with being comfortable. We don't have to be comfortable. We can have a life of abundance if we go out and really, really work towards it. But most of it has the ability to produce wealth. Um, we have we have the ability to go to work and produce income. Okay, the ability to produce wealth is an inside job, not just having a good paying job. So yeah, we can go to work, we can make the income, but what are we going to do with the income once we make it? Okay. And that's where the disconnect is, because a lot of people know how to go to work. Most of us have been millionaires multiple times because we've probably been working since we're 16 years old, but we don't have anything to really show for the money that we have accumulated over our lifetime. That makes sense. You got to do the inner work to ensure that you're not a weapon formed against yourself. Okay. Do the inner work to make sure that you're not a weapon formed against yourself. And that is causing you not to prosper. Don't be the weapon that's formed against yourself because of your mindset around the money. Okay. You got to understand that you make this money. You need to pay yourself first, pay your bills, and you need to make sure a portion of this money is going somewhere to where it can generate more money. Okay. We're just looking at like financial literacy. It teaches. Here is how you become a wealthy. Okay. Financial literacy is the teaching part. This is how you become wealthy. While financial spirituality teaches, okay, here is how you get wealthy. So you got to understand the different the avenues around money. You got to understand them. Okay. Become it. Okay. You got to become it, and then it will come to be. So what that is saying, you have to get yourself ready to receive what is coming your way. Okay. And then this one right here, it says, working hard in exchange for money. Hold on. Let me do that over. Working hard in exchange for money is the first thing we may need to do to accumulate the money. Okay. But trading time for money is the last thing we want to do if the goal is to create wealth, because you can only make so much money by the hour. Nobody is really going to, when you're working by the hour, nobody is really going to pay you what you're worth. They're going to pay you what they feel they can get for that hour. That makes sense? And it says in Matthew 20:16 says, the last shall be first and the first last. At first we work for money until at last money works for us. It's in the Bible. If you go into the Bible, there's a bunch of money tips and wealth tips in there. You just got to go, you got to read it and try to understand it. In this book, I'm going to tell y'all the name of it because it is really, really good. Rich and Righteous, Spiritual Secrets of Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind by Julian Gordon. My friend Shanika bought me this book maybe like 3 years ago. And I keep referring back to it. I have read it all, and I just keep referring back to it because at every income level you get to, you have to have, it's a different beast. And you have to be able to navigate. You have to be able to understand money at every level. But I did want to talk about today the shift that I am seeing is huge in healthcare, with a lot of healthcare professionals changing their stand. They are getting into businesses. They're starting businesses, and they're not 100% walking away from the bedside, but they are doing other things alongside that. Because elevating your income means taking the money that you already earn and become more intentional with it. So they're taking the money that they're already earning and they're being more intentional with it. They're creating businesses. They're creating more opportunities. And that can And when you're looking at being more intentional with your money, that can be negotiating your salary or moving into a higher paying specialty. It'd be picking up extra additional income strategically, not because you're going to do this for the rest of your life and your overtime becomes your lifestyle. I remember working overtime was like, I don't think I've ever worked where I didn't have at least 3 shifts, if not 4 shifts of overtime on my shift. It became a lifestyle for me. It became part of my regular income because I'd done it for years on years on years. We shouldn't have to do that. And if you are picking up overtime and it's becoming a lifestyle for you, then we got a bad money management. Um, we got something going on right there that we need to really look at, because when it comes to retirement, it's going to really be hard when you don't have those extra shifts to pick up. And that's why I'm seeing a lot of people say, oh, I'm not going to retire. I'm going to work until I pass away. I'm going to work until my body give out. That's not golden years. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to work our time and then go enjoy the rest of our life. But we create our lifestyle around money and overtime to where we don't really see it happening, or we're not able to prepare for it the way that we need to. So picking up additional income strategically, but in a way that it does not exhaust you. I get told so many times that I'm no longer working for somebody else, how happier I look, how much brighter I looked, things like that. I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, I didn't think nothing was wrong then, but it was because I was always tired. I was exhausted. I was working lots of hours and I had little time, for me, family, friends, so you pick up shifts strategically so that you can build and work towards building something for the future and allowing yourself to have that money to go then allow that money to go make more money, and then building a business that can eventually replace the bedside income. Because at some time you're going to have to move away. You're going to have to. I'm 47 and I haven't worked since I was probably about 43. My back problem started a long time ago. It really did. And even to this day, I have back problems. The work is very taxing on your body. So can you really do it forever? And if you can, are you really doing it not in pain? That's the key. How many Tylenols are you taking before and after every shift? So you don't want to work yourself to the point to where your body is deteriorating. And being able to take a portion of the money that you do make, take a portion of that earned income and put it somewhere where it has an opportunity to grow. That's where you go into your investing, making sure you have your money somewhere that it can actually grow. And then creating income that is not completely attached to your physical labor, like we just went through. If your body gives out, do you have a way that income is going to continue to come into you? And then use your skills, your knowledge, network, and professional experience to solve problems outside of your regular everyday job. You can increase your income by working more hours, but when you're trying to elevate your income, you have to be able to have choices. You need to be able to elevate your income without having to donate another hour to somebody else's corporation. And so I know a lot of people, they're no longer looking at what their license can do inside of a facility. They're looking how they can use their license outside of that. And some of the ways that you guys can use your license is like CPR and first aid training companies. Start those up. I've seen a lot of those coming up. I've seen nurse consulting businesses where you're able to educate nurses. I even have a friend that's a legal nurse. Amazing, right? Just a legal nurse. I also seen that on one of these social media platforms where they were telling you where you can go be a legal nurse and get paid like $150 an hour to go through claims. So there's like so many different things. And I'm not saying walk away from bedside, but I'm just saying what I am seeing. And it ties into elevating your income, because at some point, how can we not have to go in and work for somebody else at some point in our life? How can we generate our own income? And these are just ideas like mobile IV therapy, hydration, wellness coaches. I see a lot of wellness coaches, health education and patient advocacies, nursing education and tutoring, helping newer nurses that's coming into the field be able to be amazing nurses. I've seen Netflix preparation, staffing in healthcare agencies, non-medical transportation, doulas, medical billing, healthcare content creation. Yes, you guys, there's people out here making healthcare content creation for healthcare professionals. So if you follow my page, you probably see my content is geared towards healthcare professional because that's my natural background. And so there's actually people out here creating content for other healthcare professionals that have businesses. And at first I thought it was crazy. I was like, what? But I get it because as business owners, we're busy. We don't always have time to go creating content. So it's the same thing. It's just now that it's an actual role that somebody is putting out there for people. So it's just crazy. But you also see healthcare professionals getting into businesses where they start scrub businesses. They have other healthcare products. I've seen a lot of nurses get into real estate. I've seen a lot of nurses also get into financial services. We also have at my financial firm, I bring on healthcare professionals and help them get into the space so that we can go and help other healthcare professionals understand their retirement, understand their benefits package, understand long-term care, and understand what retirement is going to look like. Because I don't care what nobody said. Nobody wants to work 20, 30, 40 years and get to retirement, and then retirement ain't ain't a thing. Nobody really wants to do that. We know that at some point we started to realize I didn't properly prepare for retirement, so it's not going to happen. So we mentally tell ourselves it ain't going to happen. And so when somebody say, when do you want to retire? They say, oh, well, I love my job and I'm just going to work until I can't. No, I call BS. But anyways, um, so with that, having other healthcare professionals come into financial services so that we can go and educate our fellow healthcare professionals on making sure that they're setting up things properly, because I already know we are handed our benefits package at the same time we're onboarding. It's like you're onboarding, here's your 403B, this is what your pension is going to be, this is what your healthcare is, this is what your life insurance is. And one note on that, life insurance, you guys, that is dear. Because I had some things happen to me, but I'm not going to go into that because we're talking about elevating your income. But with life insurance, our companies offer us sweet packages, and it's literally called the golden handcuff, and they're designed to keep us there. They're designed to make sure that if the hospital down the street offers you $2 more, that these benefits are so sweet that you're not going to leave them. Okay. So you got to understand why they're offering the things that they're offering you. Yes, it's to help you, but it's also to keep you. When they create these benefit packages, they have the company in mind, not necessarily you. They have you in mind on as far as what will get people to stay. But then they have those plans put in place also to benefit the company. But when it comes to life insurance, having company-owned life insurance is absolutely amazing. I always say it's a bonus, but you need to make sure that you have your own. What happens if you get sick and you can no longer work at that job? What if you switch jobs? What if the job go out of business? Then what do? Now you say you got to go figure it out on your own. And a lot of times in healthcare, we have our benefits that transfer over because we switch jobs, but positions, but we don't necessarily switch the company. Like I've switched 3 different times what hospital I worked at, but I didn't change companies. I just changed what facility. So my benefits transferred over with me. So the benefits that I've had them since I was in my 20s. And then I left my company in my 40s. So I had those same benefits for over 20 years. And so when we only rely on our company benefits, when those benefits are no longer there because the company left or you had to leave the job, now you're looking at being a lot older and probably have some medical problems that will cost you more money to try to get these benefits on your own. So even when your company offer you things, you need to make sure that you have your own things that you control on the outside of that. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. There's a whole nother section on that, but I did want to hit that since I brought that up. But we're going back to like all the different services that you can do as a healthcare professional with different licenses, starting your own businesses and things like that, with financial services being one of those. So if y'all see this in financial services, something you were thinking about getting into, or somebody approached you with it, it's definitely worth a look to take out. What I love is that not every nurse is trying to walk away from nursing tomorrow, and some are still building alongside while they're still working, but they're also allowing themselves to see that they have an opportunity to have extra income come in, and they're using their current income to fund whatever their businesses are. So where we at on time? So that is just a few of the things that nurses are actually out here doing. And nurses already know how to assess the situation. And this is why they do really, really well in financial services, because they already know how to assess the situation. They know how to ask important questions. They educate people without overwhelming them. And that's one of the biggest things, because when I got into financial services, I didn't want to sell. I wanted to educate. I want to empower people. I want to give them the information that they need to make informed decisions. So I had to figure out a way, okay, how do I get this sales things out of my head? Because I naturally, I want to help people. And so when I figured out a way that I can go back and I can help people and take the sales out of, yes, every business, I don't care what business you're in. Every business you're in is for sales. Even if you're working in the hospital, you're not the one that's personally selling something, but the company, they're getting paid. So every business is a sale. You got to pay for something. So, but I had to tie what I was doing into education. So that's what I done. And then you need to be able to explain complicated information in plain English. So you guys are really, really well at that. Develop a plan based on someone's needs. And so what I created was a retirement emergency room for healthcare professionals. And it's all in medical language, because it's language that you understand. Your blood pressure is the blood flow of your cash flow and things like that. So I'm going to be sharing that with you guys really, really soon. But it's absolutely amazing because we know how to take a language and make it to where people can understand it. We can develop plans based on people's needs. We know how to assess. So you can assess someone and give them a proper plan. Follow regulations and professional standards, and help families prepare for crisis. And in financial services, you get to help them prepare for crisis before they actually occur. And as you guys know, a lot of healthcare problems arise because of financial stress. So if we can help them with their finances, this was my thought mind process, we can help them with their finances, then maybe I can help alleviate some of those financial stresses that they may also have later down in life. So like in healthcare, we assess the patient, we identify the risks, we explain the options, we create the plan. And in financial service, we assess a family's financial situation, we identify the gaps, we educate them on their options, and then we help them put a financial plan in place. So get it? It all ties in together. So with financial services, the plans that we can create for them is life insurance and living benefits, making sure if they have any medical, critical, chronic, or terminal illness that arise, that they have a way to leverage income, to leverage money. Remember, elevating that income, making sure that you have access to funds, income and mortgage protection. If you get sick, what happens to your mortgage? Can you still pay for it? Retirement planning, college and legacy planning, business protection. So all the nurses and healthcare professionals that start in businesses, do you have succession plans in place, or are you just creating this business so that it can last today? What happens when you really truly want to walk away from business, you want to retire? Does this business just disappear? Is it going to be passed to your family? Do you have somebody else in place to come and take over? Because even if you have somebody else to come and take over, your family can still benefit from that. Your family don't have to jump in the hot seat and run your business. So there's things that you need to have in place. And then long-term care. A lot of people are missing that one. A lot of people, even if you're planning for retirement, a lot of people are missing the long-term care preparation part. What happens if you prematurely get ill and you need to have a nurse come and take care of you? Will that deplete your retirement account? Will that deplete your investments? You guys, we really got to start thinking about these things. So when it comes to elevating your income, you got to look at every area of how can I take the money that I have today, make it grow, and make that baby keep on making more money, and then put all these things in place to make sure if all these things in life happens, you have a way to be protected financially to where you're not going to have a financial setback. And then last but not least is taxes. A lot of people don't understand taxes. Making really good money. And this is how, this is one of the things that got me looking at my retirement. I was making decent money, had my 403b, have a pension, all those things, but I didn't understand exactly how that was going to work for me. I didn't understand how that bucket of money was going to transfer over into income. We just look at the balance, and the balance looks really good. But what if you're in retirement for 20, 25 years? Will that balance convert into monthly income for the next 20, 25 years? And will that income be what you need to sustain the lifestyle that you have created for yourself? Nobody wants to go into retirement and then have to downsize. Nobody really wants to do that. So we need to elevate our income. Always be checking it. We need to always check our income, check the things that we're doing, make sure that we know our financial independence number, and set a plan in place. Okay. So let me see where we're at, because I kind of took y'all on a left field. Oh, okay. So now we're going to talk about the difference between extra income and elevated income. Extra income can help you pay this month's bills, and then elevated income should also help you prepare for your future, help you prepare for retirement, help you prepare for your emergency funds and things like that. Some of the things that you can ask yourself around your income to know if it's extra income or if it's elevated income is, does this income only exist when I physically have to go do the work? So extra income is a shift that you go pick up. Elevated income is, hey, I don't have to go pick up the shift, but I have the money. And then, can the income grow over time? And then, are you building an asset, a client base, a brand, or a transferable skill? And then, are you using some of the money to build long-term wealth? And then, could the income eventually give you the option to reduce your hours? And that's the big one, guys. Making sure that the income can eventually allow you to step away from work. And I get it. Some people say, hey, I don't want to be older and I'm just sitting on a couch with nothing to do. I get it. I don't want to be that way either. But going into, I haven't had to work for a company in almost 4 years, a little over 3.5 years. But even my business, that still worked for me. And so at some point, I'm going to get to where I don't want to have to go to work to bring income in. So I'm building my business right now. So when I do get ready to retire, I still have income coming in. I have passive income coming in. And I can go into the office if I choose to, but not because I have to. And that is the big difference. When you're talking about retirement, it's not that you're just going to sit at home, be a couch potato, and don't do absolutely nothing. It's, can I work because I want to versus do I have to go to work to pay my bills? And then back to the difference between extra income and elevated income. The next question you would ask yourself is, could this income eventually give you the options to reduce your hours? I think I might have hit that one. And is it helping you move closer to your retirement, or simply helping you spend more? And I'm going to be honest, y'all. I had bad money management skills, and maybe not management skills, maybe so, but I think it was more of the mindset around the money. I thought you go to work, you make money, you pay bills. Once you pay bills, you can spend everything else that you have. And ideally, that's not what you do, right? Okay. Let me see. I want to make sure I hit all the points that we were supposed to hit today. Just a little side note, some questions that you can ask. How many? No. Let me see. So if you guys, I don't know if I can see the comments on here. I am on StreamYard, just so y'all can know, I'm on StreamYard. That's how we used to do Becoming Her a few years ago, and it worked out really well because it streamed across all my platforms, and it also streamed on YouTube without me having to download and send everything there. So this is my first day back on StreamYard, and it's been a few years, well, a couple years, and a lot has changed. So I will be learning it. And on here, I was supposed to have a guest, Rashida. She's a nurse and she's a business owner as well. She has some personal things to take care of, so I am going to get her back on in the next couple of weeks, and I have a few other guests that's going to be coming on. So if you have a story you want to tell or a business you want to share, definitely reach out to me so that we can get you on. I don't want this to be a one-man situation kind of thing, but I do want to come on and hopefully be able to give you guys valuable information, how to start different businesses, what business look like in real life. And just whatever it is that you guys need help with, how to navigate being a business woman and being a mother or spouse and all the things and the titles that we normally have tied to us. Let me see. But I did want to let you guys know that I am looking to expand my business, my financial firm. So I am looking for people who are looking for an opportunity, people who understand the importance of financial education, financial literacy, and going out and to be able to help our communities. And I understand it feels like it. Trying to shift sometimes can be hard. It can be really hard when you're used to doing something and then you're like, okay, I need to pivot, I need to shift because things aren't going the way that you plan for them to go, or you're seeing these jobs, you're seeing them you're seeing that they're shutting down at a really high rate, and you're like on pins and needles wondering, today, is it going to be me? And I know a lot of healthcare professionals, because I did too. I used to think that we were exempt. Nobody can take our jobs. We were secure. We were safe. I'm not going to say the company's name, but they have laid off a crazy amount of healthcare professionals, and not necessarily in the ER and on the floors, but those nurses that are those healthcare professionals that do things on the backside, in the back end, that help keep the front end running. So y'all never think that your job is so secure that you don't have some kind of plan in the back of your head. But I did want to give you guys a little back end story about how I built my financial firm. I was able to step away from the ER. That's where I was last at. I've pretty much done everything. I worked on an ambulance. I worked in hospice. I worked ER. ER is my last stop. But I was able to step away and build a very successful financial firm. And it gave me the opportunity to continue helping people, but in a different way. Instead of only responding when a medical crisis occurred, I was able to help families prepare for financial crisis. It often comes with illnesses, injuries, retirement, and loss of income. So I still get to help, and I still get to play in the field, but I get to help in a different kind of way. So I really, really love what I do. So if you're looking at for an opportunity where you feel like, hey, I really want to be able to use my skills, I still want to help, I still want to make a difference, then check it out. Come have a conversation with me and see if this is something that you may be interested in. It may just be something you're interested in. But I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up because we've been on here for about 37 minutes. But I do want to wrap it up with the E in Her wealth method. It is elevating your income, because healing your finances is only the beginning. At some point, we have to ask ourselves, how can I increase my earning power? How can I position some of my income to grow? And how can I build something that gives me more control over my time? Time freedom, you guys. Time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. Okay, those are the freedoms I'm looking for. You don't have to quit your job next week. You don't have to abandon the profession that you work so hard to earn, but you can begin building another option while you still have an ability to create more income, the relationships, and the ability to prepare. So you guys just understand, the money that you bring in, you need to make that baby make some more money. And if you're a healthcare professional who has been thinking about creating another stream of income, and you're curious about building a business in financial services, send me the word elevate and we will have a conversation. But I am going to jump off of here. And I think we're going to come back on in the next couple of weeks, and we'll have Rashida come on. She has some personal things come up today. She is a nurse. She is a doula. She has a business, an IV therapy business. So she will be coming on. And I have a couple of other nurses that will be coming on, educating you guys on IV therapy And then I have one that can come on and talk to you guys about starting your home health business. So, but if you guys got some ideas, or even if you are in healthcare and you started a business and you want to come on and you want to share that, jump on, DM me and let me know, and then we can get you on, because it's all about collaboration, you guys. It's about collaboration and sharing the information so that others can also have this information. Because what I'm learning is, when I was looking for an exit, there's a whole bunch of other people that's looking for exits for different reasons, not because they're burnt out and they're tired, the same story that everybody says, but people are looking for exits for different reasons. And we're looking to find ways to be able to generate additional streams of income. You may have to go and take care of your family. You may have to leave because some medical problems or whatever that may be, but you still want to be able to use your skills in a meaningful way. You still want to go make a difference and an impact in other people's lives. And financial services, you guys, is an absolutely amazing way that you can still do that, in a way that you can have the opportunity to still help people. But I also know that that's not what everybody wants to do. So what I'm doing is looking to collaborate with other healthcare professionals in other fields so that we can, I kind of want to do like a business fair or a business opportunity to where we can lay all these different options out to people so people can see that there is more than just what they're currently doing, and they have the ability to go generate income on their own. So you guys, I want to jump off of here. As I said, I want to go over about 45 minutes, and we're right at 40. But you guys have an amazing day and continue to be blessed. Toodles.